easy. All right. What is a scatter plot?
It's a plot with a whole bunch of dots everywhere.
A whole bunch of dots.
And you have
No
to draw.
lines?
Yeah, you have to draw a line in between them.
Oh, that's not the big list, but yes. Good. All right, scatter plot. Scattered points on a graph. That's a simple way of putting it. So here's 3 different graphs. We're going to look at the first quadrant. There's a whole bunch of points there. What does it look like? Is there any pattern to it?
It's like a zigzag.
Barely see the points.
Kind of.
It looks like those little dotted lines.
Goes up to the right.
Oh, that's nice.
Is that better?
That's great. It looks like a constellation.
Okay, so this is what we call a positive correlation because it goes up to the right. Okay? Yeah, because slope of a line that goes up to the right is positive. Alright, so let's get another one. No pattern to that at all. You say there's no correlation. All right. How are we doing so far? One more. Down to the right would be negative correlation. Because it would have a negative slope. Okay, so we actually are going to talk about a line today. So there's not much to today's lesson, that's about it, but I'm going to talk about a specific type of problem. So we have an XY chart. So if you don't have any gas, you don't go anywhere. So you have 1 gallon of gas, you drive 30 miles. 2 gallons of gas, 60. 3 gallons of gas, 90. 4 gallons of gas,
820.
120. 5 gallons of gas, 150. How do you know? How do you know that? Yeah, each gallon is to 30 miles. Okay, so it's just a ratio. A unit rate, 1 gallon per 30 miles. Or 30 miles per gallon. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? So, let me ask you something. Which one's X, which one's Y?
X is distance and Y is gas. No,
How do
X
you
is
know?
gas and Y is distance because it's depending on the amount of gas that you have about how far you go.
Gas depends on how far you go, or how far you go depends on gas?
Yeah, it's like
How far you go depends on how much gas you have.
gas.
So this depends on your gas, right? Does everybody agree?
What do you say? That's X times Y.
Well, what's
Gas
dependent?
is Y.
X or Y? What'd you say?
Gas is Y, gas is
Why?
Because, I get it, it's the right of the.
No, y depends on x. Your distance depends on how many gallons of gas you have.
Yeah, that one.
This is y, and that's x. Y is always dependent on what you put in for x. Okay? So, you could interpret that differently, the way Hannah did. And say your gas depends on how far you want to go. And that's totally okay. So there are some problems where you may interpret them a little bit differently. But distance depends on how much gas you have. Okay? So now if we change this and make a graph, and our gas is our x, that's how many gallons we have, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to go by 30s here, 30, 60, 90, 120, 150. Okay? So now plot all the points. That's a scatter plot. 0, 0, 130, 2, 60, 90, 20, and 5. Okay. So it's basically a straight line based on what we just talked about. I didn't graph this accurately on my graph, because it's a constant rate of change. Okay, so there is a straight line there. But that's a scatter plot. I just drew something called a line of best fit. Okay, this is a positive correlation, meaning the distance traveled is positively related to the amount of gas used. Okay, and that's how you have to interpret that stuff. When it's asked for an explanation, you can say something like that. All right, so line of best fit okay, is where you actually draw a line that represents the data given. You do not necessarily connect any of the points. Some of the points or all of the points may not be on the line you draw. Okay? But you draw a line that represents the data that shows, or the pattern that you see there. Now, line of best fit means I want you to give me the equation of that line. What do you need for an equation of a line that you learned from last chapter? 2 points. What does that give you? Yes. Yes. You need slope. That's one thing you need. What else do you need? The y-intercept. Slope and the y-intercept. Well, in this case, where did the line cross the y-axis? 0. So you don't need to find B. B was easy to see. Okay. How do I find slope? Rise over run, or you got to use 2 points. In most of the cases, you're going to need to pick 2 coordinates and actually figure it out. But not from here, from the line you gave. So, well, on this one, yes. So let me redraw an example here. Let's say these were your points. None none of the points are on that line. But you drew a line that kind of represents that set of data points. So what you need to do is pick 2 points on your line. In this case, let's say I pick that one. That would be 260. And I'm going to pick this one, 130. And now I can find my slope, which should be 30 over 1, which is 30. So this is actually y equals 30x. That's the equation of the line of best fit. Now what if I needed to find b, which is last chapter's test? How do you find b?
Line off
Oh gosh.
Hold up, I got it.
You are not to ever forget the stuff in the chapters, and that's the reason why you failed today, because you forgot stuff. What were you saying? Why? No, we're solving for b. We need x and y. One of the coordinates that's on your line, not this. One of the coordinates that's on your line, you put that in for x and y and solve for b. Okay, that's actually tomorrow's lesson. We'll do another example tomorrow to make sure you can do it. But you already were taught how to do that last chapter. You guys cannot forget how to do that stuff. That's why you're not doing well now. All right, your assignment. Yeah, there's not much to today.
How many problems? 75.
What?
Oh, 5.
Where's that now?